All right, well, I said at the start of the program today, I think there's a bit of a vendetta going on during lockdown against motorists. Quite a few councils are taking this opportunity to have their grand plans about fewer lanes for cars and more for bike commuters. And even the State Minister for Roads, Ben Carroll, acknowledged this before. Commuters are buying used cars in record numbers because once we're allowed out of our boxes, people will want to drive rather than take public transport. At Eaton Mall, in the usually thriving shopping mecca of Oatley, streetside car parking has been reduced in some cases from an hour down to as little as 15 minutes. And what is the point of a 15-minute car park? It's not enough time to park there and go in and buy something from the shops and safely get out before you get fined. Our next guest is a Monash City Councillor, Councillor Theo Zographos. Good afternoon.
Hello, Tom.
What's going on? Why cutting the parking from an hour down to just 15 minutes?
Well, look, let me just say that I knew nothing about this, and that's one of the reasons why action wasn't adequate. But I think the theory is, as it's been put to me by some of our engineers, is to allow the older people to get out of the vehicle, particularly if they're being dropped off by, say, a driver that's not going to stick around. But I think that can be done in a 30-minute spot or obviously an hour spot, which is what these spaces were. We're talking about 13 spaces. Yeah. So it's not a huge amount, but still the community is obviously very angry, and it's my job to reflect that onto the powers that be.
Okay, but what's you're saying? So instead of an elderly person driving themselves and parking for an hour, someone else has to drop them off, they get out of the car, someone else drives around the block several times, then comes and picks them up?
That was one of the scenarios. I'm not saying that that's the reason for every single person that would use these. My short-term goal is to at least get these reversed in the short term, and if I'm still around after the elections, to have a proper meeting where people know what's on the agenda rather than the signs just changing overnight during stage 4 restrictions.
Okay, but I mean, it's one thing for the average punter. This was councillor. You didn't know either.
No, I didn't know. Now, if that's an oversight, then, I hope it doesn't happen again. But this was not something that went to a council meeting. There was not one email sent to me. I knew when I saw the signs changed in the second week of August. I just think that's probably not good enough. We do need to at least have councillors aware of what's happening in their own areas. And that's why as soon as I saw it, I went straight into action and trying to get this reversed. And I'm very grateful for the hundreds of local residents and traders that are supporting my petition to have a bit of a common sense approach.
But why do you need a petition? I mean, you're a council, you go into a council meeting and just say, look, this is done, we need to fix it?
Yeah. Look, in normal times, whenever there's been restrictions changed, Tom, in high-profile areas. So we're not talking about a residential street. We're talking about, obviously, a high-traffic part of Monash. It has come to council meetings. It is a bit peculiar. It was done 6 weeks or so before an election. It wasn't done with at least 2 of the councillors that represent the area not knowing. So I guess, in the future, and I know that there are plans to continue on with changing restrictions in Oakley. In the future, I would love to see as much consultation, not just for traders, Tom, but there are thousands of people that use these spaces that live all over Monash and even outside of Monash, and we have to have a wide communication strategy, not just to Eden Mall, for example.
All right. Well, good luck with that, and yes, I think with the council election coming up, if you get the car parking back to 1 hour, Theo Zographos there from Monash City Council. It is a little bit concerning, is it not, that councillors don't actually know what's going on in the municipality. Anyway, over to you. Anything you want to discuss now?